I think about people who, and I've definitely been here myself. May think to yourself, maybe God's called everyone to do that, but I'm not in a position,
Yeah,
to help the homeless. In fact, I'm one paycheck away from being
yeah,
homeless. Somebody who
yeah.
says that or feels that way. How do you respond to that? Has God still called them to help out, and if so, how can they help?
Yeah, I think that giving people, I think sometimes is how it gets processed. There's a hesitancy to give because you think of it in the terms of loss, and that's not what giving is. We should think of it in the terms of being blessed, because the promise of the Word of God is that Jesus said it himself. You're more blessed to give than to receive, because when you're giving, there's something that God does. There's something that God pours out. I'm not talking about just a multiplication of physical blessings in your life. I do believe that as God desires, He'll do that. There's something that happens inside that nothing in this world can counterfeit. There's some special work of God of peace and joy that He pours into your heart when you give. And so I think that we don't wait for times of great abundance to do that.
Yeah.
We do it all the time, whether we have abundance or whether we don't. And sometimes when we don't, it's in those times where it's really sacrificial that it's most meaningful. In the story, of course, that I think of as the widow and her mite. She's in the temple. All these others are going before her, throwing their gifts into the treasury, and they're making a big deal about it. They were giving out of their abundance, so it really wasn't costing them anything. And then this little widow who was seemingly insignificant, no one was looking at her because she really probably, in their eyes, didn't have anything to offer. And she drops in this mite, which is smaller than a penny. I've got one in my office. It's like, it looks like it's worth nothing. And Jesus says, it arrested the attention of Christ. That's the thing for me. He says to his disciples, "Did you see that?" And there were thousands of people on the Temple Mount. I know they were probably thinking, did we see what? His attention was arrested. He stopped everything because what the woman did, she gave out of her need, and that struck him, a chord in him so powerfully, he drew the attention of his disciples to it. And this was one of the last things that he said to his disciples in his earthly ministry. So the real deal is this: it's not just about what it means to the world. When we give, especially out of our need, it is more so about what it means to God.
Yeah, and I think that's key. I know, for me, there's been many times where I just feel like I didn't have the money to give,
Yeah.
and you feel God prodding on your
Sure.
heart, give.
Yeah.
And in that, I look back, and I'm sure you can testify to this as well. There's never, ever, ever been a time where I gave and regretted it.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that there wasn't a small season, right?
Sure.
Maybe those few minutes of, oh, I can't believe I just did that. What was
Yeah.
I thinking? Or,
Yeah.
you and your wife get in a conversation about, what you decided to give to the Lord, or, whatever the case may be. But looking back in the long run of things, God always provided.
Yeah.
He always came through. And, His Word says that, right? Those who lend to the poor lend to God.
Yeah.
Right.